Let's introduce the contestants. Dalan is a being of pure light and cloud. It can change into any form and it breathes ice. Good Boy is a shepherd dog made out of living wood. It has great smell and can leap far. Mr. Cool is an undead farmer monster armed with a spear. It poisons with its hands and runs fast. Fyro is a fireman with long hair that spews fire and ash. Mbala is a lady of the prairie. She can see and hear everything and she has 2 swords. Drekok is a giant flying octopus covered in acid. It can camouflage itself everywhere. Ikant is a ranger with 3 dog pets and bow. He is green and invisible in the forest. Sarah Mecha is a brilliant scientist. Has robot suit with rockets. Uses tricks to win. First up, Mr. Cool versus Good Boy. Over to you, Don.
Thank you, Malcolm. The fight begins with Cool running towards Good Boy with its spear out. Good Boy smells the poison on the spear and leaps out of the way. Cool throws the spear at Good Boy, but Good Boy dodges it and Cool runs towards Good Boy with its hands out. Good Boy smells the poison on Cool's hands and leaps out of the way. Cool gets frustrated and runs towards Good Boy, but Good Boy leaps out of the way again. Cool finally manages to grab Good Boy and poison him with its hands. Good Boy starts to feel weak and Cool stabs him with the spear. Good Boy falls to the ground and Cool stabs him again. Good Boy is dead. Cool is the victor. It was a fierce battle, but in the end Cool's poison and spear were too much for Good Boy. Good Boy put up a good fight, but in the end, Cool's experience and strategic use of its poison won out.
This is going to be a good one. Mbala, the Lady of the Prairie, is up against Ikant the Ranger in this fight to the death. Mbala is known for her 2 swords, while Ikant is known for his bow and 3 dog pets. Mbala has the advantage of being able to see and hear everything, while Ikant has the advantage of being green and invisible in the forest. This is sure to be a close match.
Welcome to the arena, everyone. In just a moment, we will be joined by our 2 competitors, Mbala and Ikant. But first, let's take a look at the arena itself. As you can see, it is quite large, with plenty of room for our fighters to move around. There are also several different areas that they can use to their advantage. On the east side, we have a forest, which should be perfect for Ikant, who is a ranger. On the west side, we have a swamp, which may give Mbala an advantage, as she is a lady of the prairie. In the north, we have a lake, which could be a problem for both fighters if they are not careful. And in the south, we have a snow-covered area, which could be treacherous for both of them. So it should be a very interesting fight. Ikant will have to use his knowledge of the forest to his advantage, while Mbala will have to use her experience in the prairie to her advantage. Whoever can use their environment to their advantage will likely come out victorious. Let's speak to an Ikant fan that is joining us now. What are your thoughts?
I just know that Ikant is going to win this fight. He's just so much more skilled than Mbala. He's been training his whole life for this, and Mbala is just some random lady from the prairie. I don't think she stands a chance against him.
But what about her ability to see and hear everything?
That's not going to matter. He's going to be able to take her down before she even knows what's happening.
I am joined here by Mbala.
I am excited to be here and to have the opportunity to show everyone my skills. I have been training for this moment for a long time and I am ready to do whatever it takes to win. I know my opponent is very experienced and has some benefits that I don't, but I am not going to let that stop me. I am going to fight with everything I have and I am confident that I will come out victorious. Thank you for your support.
Thanks also for being with us, Ikant. What are your thoughts on the fight?
Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here and to be able to participate in this tournament. I am very confident in my abilities, and I know that I have what it takes to win. My opponent is very strong, and I know it will be a tough fight, but I am ready for it. I appreciate all the support from my fans, and I promise to give them a good show. Thank you.
We now go to the arena where the fight is starting.
Mbala starts the fight by charging at Ikant with her swords drawn. Ikant nimbly dodges out of the way and looses an arrow at Mbala. Mbala deflects the arrow with her sword and continues her charge. Ikant releases his dogs who race towards Mbala. Mbala deftly slices one of the dogs in half with her sword. The other 2 dogs jump at her, but she ducks out of the way and they collide with each other. Ikant takes advantage of the situation and fires off a few more arrows at Mbala. Mbala is able to deflect most of them, but one grazes her arm, causing her to stumble. Ikant closes in on Mbala, but she is able to recover and slash at him with her swords. Ikant jumps back to avoid the blades and looses another arrow. This time, it sinks into Mbala's thigh. Mbala grunts in pain, but does not let up. She continues to swing her swords at Ikant. Ikant tries to back away, but Mbala is relentless. She finally catches him with a lucky slash across the chest. Ikant staggers back, clutching at his wound. Mbala takes advantage of his moment of weakness and charges forward, plunging her swords into his stomach. Ikant collapses to the ground, dead. Mbala is the victor. I am now joined by the victor, Mbala. Congratulations on your win, Mbala. How do you feel?
I feel great. It was a tough fight, but I'm glad I was able to come out on top.
What was your strategy going into the fight?
I knew that Ikant was a ranger, so I knew he would be good at dodging and hiding. I wanted to take away his advantage by keeping him in the open.
You were injured during the fight. How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling fine. It's just a flesh wound. It'll heal quickly.
Thank you for your time, Mbala.
Thank you.
Dawn, I see you are now joined by an Ikent fan.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really upset right now. I can't believe that Ikent lost.
Why do you think Ikent lost?
I don't know. He's usually so good at hiding and using his dogs to attack. I guess Mbala was just too strong.
What did you think of Mbala's fighting style?
It was very impressive. She was able to take away Ikent's advantage and keep him in the open.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Dawn is now joined by the ghost of Ikent for a post-battle interview.
Ikent, what was going through your mind during the fight?
I was just trying to survive. I knew that Mbala was a skilled fighter and I didn't want to take any chances. I tried to stay out of her reach and hit her with my arrows, but she was just too fast. I didn't stand a chance against her.
What do you think went wrong?
I think I made a mistake by releasing my dogs too early. Mbala was able to take one of them down before they could even reach her. And then the other two got tangled up and I lost my chance to take her by surprise. She was just too strong and too skilled for me.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
I don't know. I don't think so. I did the best I could, but in the end, it wasn't enough. I'm just glad that it was a quick death. I didn't want to suffer.
And we return now to the arena where the battle between Sarah Mecha and Dawn is now starting. Over to you, Dawn.
The fight begins with Sarah rushing towards Dawn, her robot suit powering up its rockets. Dawn calmly watches as Sarah gets closer and closer before finally transforming into a giant bird of prey. The bird dives towards Sarah and catches her in its talons before flying up into the air and slamming her into the ground. Sarah gets up, undeterred, and charges at Dawn again. This time, Dawn transforms into a large snake, coiling itself around Sarah and constricting her. Sarah struggles against the snake, but eventually she begins to weaken and her suit starts to fail. Just when it seems like Dawn will win, Sarah activates her suit's final reserve of power, blasting Dawn off of her and into a nearby tree. Sarah staggers over to the tree, where Dawn is now in human form once again. Dawn smiles and raises its hand, unleashing a stream of pure light that envelops Sarah. Sarah cries out in pain as she is burned by the light, and she falls to the ground, her suit shattered and her body smoking. Dawn steps forward and plunges its hand into Sarah's chest, ending her life.
Thank you, Dawn. Dawn stands triumphantly over Sarah's lifeless body, smiling as the reporters swarm around it. When asked about the fight, Dawn simply says that it was easy and that Sarah never stood a chance against its power. It goes on to say that it is the strongest being in the universe and that there is no one who can beat it. Dawn, I see you are joined by Dawn for an interview.
Yes, Malcolm. Dawn, what do you think gave you the edge in this fight?
I am a being of pure light and cloud. I can change into any form. I breathe ice. Sarah is a brilliant scientist, but she was no match for my power.
Do you think anyone in the universe can beat you?
There is no one in the universe who can beat me. I am the strongest being there is.
The next fight is between Frekok and Fyro.
Fyro starts the fight with a flurry of punches, trying to keep Drekok off balance. But Drekok is ready for him and counters with a jet of acid that Fyro barely manages to dodge. Fyro starts to feel the heat of Drekok's flames and knows he needs to put this creature down quickly. He lashes out with a great column of fire, engulfing Drekok in flames. Drekok screams in pain, but doesn't back down. He lashes out with his tentacles, trying to wrap them around Fyro's throat. But Fyro is too quick and ducks out of the way. He comes at Drekok again with a fury, battering him with punches and kicks. Finally, he brings his fist down onto Drekok's head with all his might, and the creature crumples to the ground. Fyro is panting hard, but he's grinning from ear to ear. The crowd is going wild, and he knows he's just won the fight of his life.
Fyro, how do you feel?
I feel amazing. I knew I could do it. I just had to stay focused. Drekok is a tough opponent, but I was determined to win.
Already the next fight is starting in the arena. It is Mr. Cool versus Mbala.
The fight began in the arena, which was an open space. Cool and Mbala both eyed each other warily, circling around each other. Cool struck first, poison dripping from his hands as he attempted to slash Mbala with them. Mbala dodged easily, her quick reflexes helping her to stay out of reach of the poison. Mbala retaliated with a swift series of attacks, her sword slicing through the air towards Cool. Cool managed to avoid them, but only just. He was beginning to tire, and Mbala was still fresh. Cool knew he had to finish this quickly. He charged at Mbala, spear in hand. Mbala dodged, but Cool's spear grazed her arm, leaving a deep cut. Cool smirked, thinking he had her. But Mbala was not done yet. She used her speed to her advantage, darting around Cool and striking him with her swords. Cool was driven back by the force of the blows, and he realized he was in trouble. He was wounded, and Mbala was still fresh. He fought on, though spears and poison his only weapons. But in the end, it was not enough. Mbala's superior speed and skill went out, and she dealt a final, fatal blow to Cool. He collapsed to the ground, dead.
And now, Fyro versus Dawn. Over to you again, Dawn.
The two opponents eyed each other warily, each trying to gauge the other's strengths and weaknesses. Pyro, the fireman, was surrounded by a halo of flames, while Dalan, the being of light, was shimmering and ethereal. The fight began with a flurry of activity as both contenders unleashed their respective powers. Pyro spewed fire and ash, while Dalan breathed ice. The arena was soon engulfed in a dense fog, making it difficult to see. As the fight continued, it became clear that Dalan was the superior fighter. His speed and agility were unmatched, and he was able to avoid all of Pyro's attacks. Meanwhile, Pyro was slowly being frozen solid by Dalan's icy breath. In the end, Dalan emerged victorious as Pyro lay frozen and motionless on the ground.
And after all that, we now come to the final fight between Mbala and Dalan.
Mbala and Dalan face off in the arena. Mbala is armed with her two swords, while Dalan is a being of pure light and cloud. The two begin to fight, and it quickly becomes clear that Mbala is outmatched. Dalan changes into various forms, including a large bird and a giant snake, and breathes ice at Mbala, who is forced to retreat. However, Mbala is relentless, and she eventually manages to land a powerful blow on Dalan, who reverts to his human form. Mortally wounded, Dalan lays on the ground, and Mbala finishes her off with a sword through the heart.
Mbala, congratulations on winning the tournament and thanks for joining me. What are your thoughts on the final fight?
It was a good fight, but I knew I was going to win from the start. Dalan is a being of pure light and cloud, and while he can change into any form, he doesn't have the experience or expertise that I have with my swords. I was able to take him down.
How do you feel, having now won the entire tournament?
It feels good. I came here to win, and that's exactly what I did. I'm the best fighter in the world, and no one can take that away from me.
But what about all those other participants you killed?
They were in my way, and they had to be removed. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to apologize for doing what I had to do to win. That's not who I am.